Hi, I'm Georgia and I work with the Australia Alopecia Areata Foundation. I'm here with Sarah Martine and we're going to answer questions about wigs. The AAAF get a lot of questions about wigs, how to wear them, how they might impact your lifestyle, and we thought that we might pull together the ones that we receive most often and answer them for you. So both Sarah and Martine have been working in the wig industry for many years and we've all been living with alopecia for a long time. So we're hoping that our experiences can help benefit you in your own journey with alopecia. So our first question is, I'm going shopping for wigs soon. What can I expect at the shop?
Okay, so at the moment we're actually sitting in my shop in one of the private consultation rooms. So all wig shops can be a little bit different. Some of them have retail ready wigs, so you might walk in and grab a wig off the shelf. Other wig stores may have private consultation rooms where you can go in and meet the owners, or in my case, chat to someone who has alopecia and try on different wigs and find something that's going to be suitable for you.
Excellent, thank you. Next question is, how do I find where to buy wigs? I might take that one if that's okay. So there are a huge number of wig providers available. A lot of them are in the cities. People in country areas may need to travel. The best way to find wigs that are appropriate for people with alopecia is to visit the AAAF website. We have a huge listing of many of the wig makers in Australia who are connected with alopecia in some way. The other thing that you can look for is wig makers who specialise in medical hair loss. They'll likely have a bit of information about alopecia or have some experience with it themselves. Martine, I'll send this one to you. What wigs are the most comfortable?
I think that depends on a lot of things, on what the base is made of, how much of your own hair that you have left, how sensitive your skin is, and it really is a matter of just trial and error and trying a few on, I think.
Excellent. So Sarah, which wigs don't slip off easily and allow kids to just be kids?
Okay, so if you're looking for something that's going to grip to the scalp, keeping in mind this is predominantly for someone that has complete hair loss, such as myself or Martine. The wigs that we wear, mine is a silicone gripper wig, so it's not going to go anywhere. If you want to be really active and go to the gym or go swimming, they're pretty secure. Martine can do the same thing with hers, and that's one of the Freedom wigs that has got a full suction base. So whether it's a full suction silicone or a silicone gripper wig, they're going to be the most secure and what we would recommend for kids who also want to be active.
So it's probably also good to remember that there are lots of products out there that you can use to help improve the security on a wig. That includes things like wig tapes or wig glues, and things like silicone bands that go around the edges. I have young children and I'm about to get my first wig. How can I make the process easier for my kids?
I'll answer that to start off with. I do home visits for people, and I tend to find that alopecia affects a family as in general. So often if I'm with them, like bringing your children along to your appointment is not necessarily a bad thing because it helps them understand. Often they might, if someone has to remove their hair, they might see someone like Sarah and I that doesn't have hair and say, oh, it's going to be okay. My mum's going to look normal, or I like how she looks. So I think open and honesty with children's the best way to go. Also, you need to teach them a little bit of privacy. So if you're not planning on telling the world that you wear a wig, maybe letting them know that not necessarily it's a secret, but it's something private within your family, so they don't kind of tell the whole shopping centre that, hey, my mummy can take her hair off.
That's a very good answer. This is a bit similar to the last one, but I want to get a wig for my 5-year-old daughter. What's the best type of wig for really young kids? What's your opinion there?
Look, when kids are younger, they're still growing, so their head's going to change quite considerably over time. If they are suffering from complete hair loss and you want them to have something quite secure, then you're probably best to go with one of the silicone gripper wigs. If you are concerned they may take it off at school or at a birthday party, you can use additional adhesives such as ultra-hold tapes or glues to make sure the wig's a little bit more secure on their head. If, you know, during that time they decide they don't want to wear the wig or they wear it on and off over time, it's cool. The net or the silicone bases, they can have room to grow into them. Yeah.
I think it's important to have a look at the child as well. Like they can be really sensitive, especially if they've had no hair for a little while. They're sort of like, get all of their hair off me. So you need to pick a really natural fibre and a really smooth base that they're not going to find irritating, or they won't even actually leave the shop with it on.
So another question that's come in often from parents getting wigs for their kids: can people with wigs still get head lice?
No. That bonus of kids with alopecia is all the other siblings will be rampant with lice and your little alopecian won't. So lice actually feed off the blood supply of the scalp and not the hair. So no.
And next up, I've purchased a wig online and it's a little bit big. How can I adjust the wig to fit my head?
Yeah, so with wigs people purchase that are a little bit big, there are some adjustments you can make to them. I'll just show you on this wig here. So with the net-based wigs, you can adjust these. What you can do is pinch together some of the wefts and you can actually sew those together to make the wig cap tighter at the back. You can also pinch together the side if it's too big around that area as well. Some wigs will come with the adjuster, which you can also adjust the wig yourself.
Another question that we hear all the time: I'm about to start dating for the first time since losing my hair. When's the right time to tell someone?
Oh, okay.
The $1 million question.
Dated my whole life with no hair, so I've kind of been a trial and error for me. I used to think that, well, I still do in a way. I think that to tell someone about my alopecia, that's something that's so personal to me, I will kind of want to make sure I like him enough first, and that I trust him. And I've never had a bad experience as far as men go with them not being able to deal with my alopecia. If anything, they've kind of given me confidence that it doesn't make me any less and it doesn't change how they feel about me. So it is a really personal question, but I think you'll know within yourself. Other people like to do it in a different way. They feel that they need to be upfront straight away. I kind of like to get to know them first and know if they're worthy enough.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's so personal and I think there's no right or wrong answer, but for me, I'm not the kind of person that is straight away upfront about it. I wouldn't go on a first date and go, guess what, I have no hair. But what I would tend to do is just, again, see if I like them. And the world of social media and Google and the internet these days, unfortunately, I can't really hide from too much. So I tend to go on a few dates and then they will find out my story, and you know, most of the time, in fact all the time, they've been really lovely about it. So I don't think it's something to be afraid of, and I think just be open. And with most men, they're pretty simple. If you're happy and confident, then they're pretty happy to be around you.
I've found through trial and error, again, different ways of telling people that's been successful or not. So often if I'm telling someone about my hair and I have a lot of emotion behind it, my reaction is to perhaps be crying when I tell them, and then they don't know how to react to me, or they end up feeling sorry for me, and that's the last thing that I want. So I'll tend to, especially with men, like you said, they're simple, Sarah, yeah. I'll just tell them like I would tell them anything to a dude, and just sort of take all of the emotion away, stick to the facts. They tend to say, oh, are you okay? Can you fix it? The answer is, no, can't fix it. Yes, I am okay. And then we move right along.
Yeah.
No, I really like that. I think for me, so I most of the time go without wigs these days. And my philosophy about it has always just been, if somebody had a problem with it, that's not someone I'd want to be with anyway. So I think it can be really scary. It can feel really confrontational, but it will be okay. Long run, 100% will be okay. Your answer really does lead into the next question well, which is, how do you tell people? Do you have tips, a strategy aside from?
Yeah, just keep the emotion out of it if you can. And that can be really hard because, especially if you haven't told a lot of people, you're feeling quite emotional around your own story. But if you really can kind of hold back on that, stick to the facts, you'll find that people will respect you for what you've had to go through. And that's the end result that you want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, completely. I think that there's, again, no right or wrong way of telling people, but if you're confident in your execution and just, as Martine said, not super emotional about it, then it actually kind of just rolls off the tongue, and it's just like saying, I'm wearing a black top, or, you know, I've got blonde hair, and, you know, most of the time people can't even tell that I'm wearing a wig, so they're more shocked that I am. And yeah, I just go with the flow, really. Half the time I just let them Google me.
And I suppose we have one more question that kind of goes with this one, is how will my partner react when I tell them? I mean, you've probably got recent experience to draw from.
It's they've all of my partners have just reacted in a really loving, supportive way, and in a way it actually fast tracks your relationship, because you've had to sort of be really vulnerable with them and just, oh, here's my soul, don't crush it. And then, you know, you end up being closer, you've shared something that's really intimate about yourself, they respect you and love you more for it.
We have another question that's come in about job interviews. I have a job interview coming up and I sometimes wear a wig. I want to wear it to the interview, but should I mention my alopecia? I don't want them to feel later like I was hiding something. If you're not ready, you absolutely don't have to mention it. Legally, you're not required to disclose something like alopecia. You're only required to talk about things which might physically affect your ability to work, and alopecia doesn't affect your ability to physically do anything. It really does come down to personal preference. And I think once you take the emotion out of it, everybody's appearances change over time. It's not something that would be expected for people to disclose that they're aging. So it's not anything that you should be concerned about. What do you think?
I think go forth with confidence and grace in whatever you choose to do, really. For me, I'm a woman that wears hair all the time, so this probably isn't something that's come up. In my working history, however, it did, and I had to disclose it to my employer. They were really understanding and caring about it. So,
what about you, Sarah?
Yeah.
Do you have any experience with this? Or?
Yeah, so for me, like, prior to having my own business, I was working for other people, and to be honest, it didn't even cross my mind whether I should have to tell them or not. For me, I don't have hair that grows out of my head. My hair is in the form of a wig. It's no different to someone who might wear hair extensions or might wear a hair topper or wear a hat or something to work. I think it's really personal, and if you want to tell people down the track, which is what I've had a tendency to do, then great, you can do that. But I think for no reason do you have to disclose it.
This is one we receive all the time. Can I exercise in my wig?
Yes. So fortunately, this day and age, the technology in wigs is so much better than when Martine and I were a lot younger. I personally wear mine to the gym every day. I play netball in them. I'll go swimming in them, walk the dog. For me, I've made the choice to have 2 wigs and I rotate them. So I have one I exercise in and one that I will wear on a day-to-day basis that looks pretty, I suppose. But absolutely, you can do everything that you were doing before in your wigs.
yeah, for sure. I think there's the only one consideration is if you are swimming underwater at the pool or the beach, you need to come home and look after that wig and wash and condition that hair again. But there really isn't kind of anything that I think that my alopecia stops me doing. Roller coasters, whatever.
Excellent. This is probably a great question for both of you. I know you travel a lot. Can I go through customs in my wig?
Yeah, you're not going to beep, it's okay. So the suction wigs that I provide have fasteners in the side made of aluminium, which won't go off in any metal detector, including full body scans. So go travel.
Yeah.
Great, so that's the last question that we have at the moment. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Martine, for joining and sharing your experiences with us. If there's anything that we haven't covered here or anything you'd like to know more about, pop onto the AAAF website. We have heaps of resources, heaps of information, and all of our contact details. You can always get in touch with us if there's anything we can do to help. Thank you.